Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. So from today onwards I am going to start NCERTs because they are the basic blocks and they are the foundations to our UPSC journey. So first I am going to start history in the 6th class. So the first chapter is what, where, how and when. Means what is happened and where it is happened and when it is happened and how it was happened. That all will be discussed here itself. So why this chapter is important for our UPSC? Because this chapter introduces historical sources, archaeology, manuscripts and inscriptions, development of civilization, chronology and dating systems, human settlements. So in that, what are the concepts that are repeatedly coming in the exam is ancient history, art and culture, archaeology related current affairs. So we will go into the units. So first of all we will discuss what is the meaning of history. So the meaning of history is the systematic study of the human past through evidence. With the help of evidence, we are going to study the human past before years. Past means, for example, we are in 2026. So, in the history, what we are going to study before today means from past any year to yesterday's. Means today is 6th June, July 2026 is today's date. So to July 2026 till from any date it will be the history. Okay, have you understood? So history means it is the study of the human past through an evidence. Without evidence we can't study, right? Because we don't know whether it is correct or wrong. That's why through evidence we are going to study the history. So what it explains? Okay, what it explains? Human evaluation, how human is evaluated, how he is upgrading, that all will be explained. And cultural development, how arts and culture are developed and how it is going to change the nation, country or world, anything. And agricultural beginnings, how the agriculture is being in the past days and how it is in present days, and if any change occurred, why. So why it happened we will be understood from past, right? And the rise of kingdoms and civilizations. So for UPSC, history is not memorization, it is understanding. What we are understanding? Continuity, change and evaluation of society. Next, what are the sources of history? So the sources of history are the backbone of historical reconstruction. So sources are very important. Next, sources are classified into how many types? 2 types. One is archaeological sources, next one is literary sources. What are the archaeology sources? So these include tools, pottery, coins, inscriptions, monuments, bones and sculptures. What is the importance of those things? What they provide? They provide material evidence, lifestyle patterns, economic conditions and technological development. For example, Harappan seals reveal what they reveal, the trade that they have used and the script they have used and the administration how they have ruled and the religion, that all will be revealed by Harappan seals. These all will come under which thing? Archaeological sources. What is meant by archaeology? We have seen archaeology sources like trade, religion, that all. But what is meant by archaeology? So what is meant by archaeology? It is the scientific study of material that remains in the past. What is scientific study of material that remains of the past? So what it studies? So archaeologistic study excavation layers, tools, burial sites and settlements. So what is here the important point that we have to remember is archaeology is especially important for prehistoric periods because writing did not exist then, because in the past years there is no writing. That's why archaeology is very important. Next, excavation. What is meant by excavation? So excavation means systematic digging of historical sites. What is meant by digging? Tavvatam. Tavvatani digging అని అంటారు. So what is the purpose? To discover buried remains and to reconstruct chronology to understand the ancient time. This comes under excavation. So it means systematic digging of historic sites. Previously what we have seen archaeology. What is meant by archaeology? Now what we have seen? Excavation. Excavation means systematic digging of historic sites. Then what is meant by archaeology? It is meant by scientific study of previously being things, because in the previous days, in past we doesn't have, in past writing does not exist, right? Excavation means digging, the systematic digging of historic sites. Next, we have completed what the thing? Archaeology sources. Now literary sources. Okay, so these are written records. Archaeology is not written. Let me erase this thing. We have seen archaeology, which is non-written. In that we have seen excavation. Now we are going to see literary. Here we have a proof of written records. Okay, we can simply understand by studying it. So there are two types in that: manuscripts and inscriptions. What is meant by manuscripts? Manuscripts means handwritten documents. Means a man has been written the script. That is known as manuscript. Okay. Next, what are the materials they have used is palm leaves and brinch bark. Means in the previous days they have used leaves to write, and brinch bark means bedadu. Beduru. Leaves. That they have been written. That is manuscripts. What are the languages they have used? They have used the languages is Sanskrit, Prakrit and Tamil for writing of manuscripts. What are the subjects they have used? Religion, science, medicine, ethics and administration. We all heard about these names, right? Next, so what is the point that we have to learn here is most ancient Indian language survived through manuscripts, not inscriptions. Okay, Indian knowledge is served through manuscripts. Next one is inscriptions, which is a part of literary source. Okay, so what is meant by inscription? So writings engraved on hot surfaces like stone, pillars, copper plates. It is an inscription also handwritten, but whereas, let me see that. Inscription, manuscription. Okay. So both are handwritten. Written. It has written in leaves and bark. It was written on stones and pillars and copper plates. Okay, this is the difference. Next, what is the importance of the inscriptions? They provide direct historic evidence and royal orders and political developments. So, what it has given, what language it used? Sanskrit, Prakrit and Tamil. Okay, most ancient was built on this one only. And what are the subjects it has been used? Religion, science, medicine, art, etc. So what is the importance of it? It provides historic evidence, orders, evidence means orders, and political development, how they have been developed. That all will be. So what is the example? The example is Ashokan inscriptions are major primary sources for Mauryan history. What are the importance? Ashokan inscriptions are primary sources of what history? Mauryan. Okay. What about manuscripts for ancient history, which is man. For Mauryan history, it is inscription, Ashokan inscriptions. Okay. Next, now we will move to historic geography of India. So what are the regions that are mentioned? We will be discussed here. Okay. So the region is Narmada Valley. What is the importance of Narmada Valley? It is the earliest hunter-gatherers are lived in Narmada Valley. And then Sulaiman and Kittar Hills. What is the importance? Early agriculture was developed at Kittar Hills. What is Indus Valley importance? First urban civilization. What is Ganga Valley? They have raised the kingdoms. What is Magadha rural empire? It is the powerful ancient state. So these are the regions and these are the important. So let me ask you randomly, for agriculture, what is Kritak? Kittar. For ancient, it is Magadha. For civilization, it is Indus. For Ganga, what is the importance? They have raised the kingdoms. Okay. Next, I have asked you by putting the information at here only. That's why you can see and you can tell, right? From the next time onwards, I will place another Word document. I will ask you random questions and you have to answer. Okay. These are the historic places and their importance. Next, why did people travel in ancient days? So why people travel means Valasa. In Telugu, the meaning is Valasa. Why they went? So they traveled for trade, they traveled for migration, they traveled for warfare, they traveled for pilgrimage, they traveled for agriculture, they traveled for spreading the ideas, for development. Okay. Trade, you also know. Migration, you also know. Warfare, you know. Pilgrimage, you know. Agriculture, everything you have known, right? So next thing is how UPSC wants. So what is the link? So it explains cultural diffusion, spread of religions and trade networks. This comes by ancient people travel for this. Okay. Next, India as a subcontinent. India is called a subcontinent because why India is called subcontinent? Because it has geographically distinct, right? In which position India is present? in the view of wide area. You have to give the so this is, you have to answer it in comment section. Okay, you have to answer it in comment section. In which position India is present in the view of wide area? Okay, comment. And separated by Himalayas and oceans, right? And it is culturally interconnected. That's why India is called subcontinent. Let me wait. I will open what. Why India? Subcontinent. Why India is subcontinent, considered as subcontinent? What are the three reasons? Let me recall. One is geographically distinct. Second one is Himalayas and oceans separated. Third one is you are going to revise here itself only. That's why you have to cultural intervention. That's why India is called as subcontinent. Okay, let me move. So what are the natural barriers? One is Himalayas, another one is Indian Ocean, and third one is deserts. Yet interaction with outside regions are continued. Still interconnection and interaction between outer regions is continued. Next, what is the origin of the name India? What is the origin of the name India? It was derived from river Indus, that is Sindhu, and the Persians called it as Sindhu as Hindu, and the Greeks call it as Indos by Ind, and this they have given it as India. Okay, how India name is derived? How it is derived? How India is originated? How? From the river, which river? From Indus river, that is Sindhu. Persians, how it is called as Hindu, and how it is spelled in Greek, Indus. From there we derived it as India. Okay, from Indus river, Sindhu, it has been called as Persians as Hindu, and from Greek they have all called it as Indo. From that we have derived it as India. Okay, next, but another word is Bharat. How Bharat is derived? From Bharata tribe mentioned in Rig Veda. Later it became a cultural political identity, Bharatiya Janata Party. Right? Bharata tribe, which was mentioned in Rig Veda, later became political party BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party, and from that Bharat is derived. Who are the historians and what are their work? So, historians can analyze evidences and they can compare sources and they can reconstruct past societies. So, they function like investigators. Right? How they function as investigators. What they can analyze? Historical evidences. After that they will compare and they will create the past evidences. So, one past or many past? So, history differs across class, gender, occupation and region. Everywhere history will be differs. Okay. There is not one history but many histories like ancient, medieval. There are many histories, right? So there are many histories. So what are the important analytical point is modern historiography focuses not only on kings but also on women, peasants, tribal communities and artisans. So these are the main important for UPSC mains enrichment. Okay. What are the focus areas? What are the focus areas? Not only kings but also women's, peasants, tribal communities and artisans. Next, what is chronology and dating system? So, BC, have you heard about it? It is before Christ area. What is meant by AD? It is Anno Domini. What is meant by BCE? Before Common Era. What is meant by CE? Common Era. So, modern academic writing papers prefers BCE and CE, means before Common Era and Common Era. They are going to focus mostly on BCE and CE. Okay. Next, decipherment. Decipherment. What is the meaning? Reading ancient scripts. That is meant by decipherment. Means reading ancient records. So, example, Rosetta Stone helped scholars to understand Egyptian scripts. Egypt is one type of script language To understand that language, what was helped to us? Rosetta Stone. So what is our Indian contest? Brahmi script deciphered by James Prinsep. James Prinsep has been helped to understand our Indian contest, that is Brahmi script. So this is very important. What? For Egypt script, who has helped Rosanna? For India script, Brahmi, who have helped James Prinsep. It has named as British, but it is okay. Next, previous question paper oriented areas, they have focused as archaeology. Archaeology means, what is meant by archaeology? Study of the ancient past area. What is meant by inscriptions? Inscriptions means they have handwritten on stones, pillars and copper plates. What is meant by manuscripts? These are also handwritten, but they have written on leaves and bark. What is meant by excavation? Excavation means study of ancient period which has evidences. What is meant by dating periods? BC, BCE, AD, but mostly focus on BC and C, that is before Common Era, Common Era. Historical geography. Okay. So what is enrichment line is, history is not merely the study of kings and wars, it is the study of human civilization and social evaluations. So what is the conclusion is, it is the foundation of ancient Indian history, archaeology, historical methodology, civilization understanding. Okay, let me go with you with another thing, just as revision. Let me give you. So here it introduces the sources of history and dating systems. Okay, have you seen? There are two types of sources. One is archaeology and another one is literary. In archaeology we have studied about excavation, right? In manuscript and inscriptions. So you have seen this, right? Okay. Archaeologist versus historian. Archaeologists study material remains, historians use written sources. Okay. Next, script versus language. What is meant by script? The writing system. What is meant by language? What is spoken or read. Same script can write multiple languages and vice versa, right? Script is used to read, and language is used to read or write or spoke. What is meant by decipherment? So the process of reading old, forgotten scripts. So we have seen two. One is Rosetta, who have identified to understand the help to read Egypt script. Another one is James Philipson, who has identified Indian context, that is Brahmi script, right? Next, the Kandahar, who is Afghanistan, bilingual inscriptions of Ashoka in Greek and Aramaic is cited as an early example of multi-script. What are dating conversations? BC, before Christ, AD, BCE. So they are religiously neutral. Now standard academic uses, right? BP. Names of the land. India derived from Sindhu, Hindos, Indos, Iranis. Bharata originated from Rigveda, tribal group, northwest, later applied to the whole country and become as a political party, right? Next, physical geography anchors, Narmada Valley, Sulaiman Kritkar. So Narmada Valley for hunter-gatherers, Sulaiman for which thing? Early agriculture, Indus for civilization, and Magadha for kingdom. You have seen them. And the beginning of the agriculture, that is Kirtar. His first city, civilization Indus, Ganga Valley plus Magadha kingdom, and present. These are the time periods. Okay. Here the first Narmada Valley will be presented here. Okay. So I already discussed you the test between BC and CE, right? On the trail of the earliest people, we will see the second chapter in the next class in detail. Okay, but it is very small chapter. Let me continue it. So on the trail of the earliest people, the core idea is hunter-gatherer life, how they can gather, and the Palaeolithic and Mesolithic translation, and the archaeology of some stone tools. What is the key content? Here the key content is hunter-gatherers, earliest people from 2 million years ago. They have 200 animals and gathered plants and no farming. There is no farming, right? So 4 reasons hunter-gatherers move. One is exhaustion of local resources, because they have eaten but there is no farming. That's why there will be exhaustion of resources, and animals themselves migrate because the people are eating animals. That's why they are going to migrate. And seasonal fruiting of plants. They are also no farming. That's why they will also exhaust. Need for water, perennial versus seasonal sources, everything. That's why, because of these 4 reasons, hunter-gatherers has moved. Because of local resources exhaustion, animals migrate, seasonal fruiting, and need for water. So what they help the sites? Habitation sites where people lived. Caves, rock shelters. Example, Bhimbetka, MP. At that places, caves, rock shelters, the people use it to live. And what are the factory sites? Where good quality stone was available and tools were made. At any place there will be a good stone is available, or there will be tools that are help to develop the factory. At there the factory will be developed or constructed. That will be considered as factory site. And what is habitation come factory sites? Both caves and rock shelters, and also the good place where stones are available and the tools were made. What are the tool making techniques? How the tools? Stone on stone, core place, hammer stone, and pressure flaking. These are the tool making techniques. Another one is fire evidence. Attached traces at Chronology Caves in Andhra Pradesh. Fire evidence. Climate shift, grassland spread rising, that thing. So the period of nomenclature. The learned, cold, heavily tested, and the periods we see Palaeolithic old stone 2 million years ago. The key feature is human history, lower, middle, and upper surfaces. Mesolithic middle stone, the time span is 12 to 10,000 years. Microliths, tiny. Here the lower or middle or upper surfaces. Here the tiny stone tools hafted onto bone or wood handles. Neolithic stone from 10,000 years ago. From Paleolithic to Mesolithic, Mesolithic to Neolithic. Polished tools forming begins. This is the period of nomenclature. What is Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and then Neolithic. From this 2 million to 1000, 12,000 to 10,000, and from 10,000. Okay, what is the rock art? Painting of wild animals in Madhya Pradesh and southern UP rock shelters. It is rock art. Ostrich eggshells found at Patna. So the beads engraved on shell. And hung ski, important Paleolithic habitation come factory site, tools mostly of limestone. And then elsewhere were box, cave paintings of France. Okay, here the UPSC angles, site name to name feature matching is a classic prelim traps. Example, Bhimbetka for paintings, and Karnool for fire evidence, and Hangski for limestones, and Parne for ostrich eggshell, that like matching, and also distinguishing Paleolithic to Mesolithic to Neolithic. In Neolithic we have found forming. So chapter 3 will be continued in the next class. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day.